Yeah, 300-pound man chasing me, demanding his hand job that I promised him. That's motivation, pal.
Welcome to episode 78 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast from the Super Network studio. I am here with Hella Greg in his bunker across the internet. How goes it, Hella Greg?
Good, man. Good. How goes it with you? What's happening?
Quite well. Do you have any business this week?
I do.
Come back to you?
Yeah.
Make sure you guys go find us on Facebook. It's Serial Chillers Podcast. The Facebook group is the same. The Instagram also the same, as is the Gmail account. Twitter is @Chillers Podcast. You can call or text us 805-666-2513. Get your merch at serialchillerspodcast.threadless.com. Rate and review on everything if you would. Please, it helps so much in getting our name out there and getting us in those recommended lists. We appreciate you guys. So patreon.com/Serial Chillers Podcast. If you want to give as little as $1 a month to the show, there's some benefits, and we're trying to give even more. We like to give back, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, also check out Super Simpsons Show, which by the time you hear this will have come out earlier this month. So you know, trying to do big things with the Super Network, guys. You got your business in line over there, Greg?
I think so, yes.
What say you?
I want to say hello to Zach and Brooke because they were like number 666 on Facebook, and I thought that was fucking rad.
There you go. So I don't know if you guys waited for it, if it was by coincidence, but
yeah, I don't know. I like to think that somebody timed that out. I do that. I try and time like likes or comments or something like that. So I'm like number 420 or number 666 or something like that.
Ah, yes. The maturity level of the Serial Chillers podcast is somewhere.
Or number 69 if it's available.
Somewhere in the 8th to 12th grade range.
Not bad. Holds up.
Holds up. Thank you. Thank you. Well, that should bring us in with two dudes who have been here before. JP, welcome. Welcome.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. You've been here in older iterations of the Super Network studio, but not in its final form.
It's no joke. It's fancy. It's even fancier. It was fancy before. It's fancier now.
It's twice as fancy.
It's at least twice as fancy.
Thank you, man.
200% the fanciness.
And welcome back. I think you were just here 2 weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I was here. I'm back again. I'm also here now.
Yes, welcome back, Alex.
Thank you, guys. I'm here, guys.
You are shed of Joseph right now.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but I have JP, so it's not as weird. We're having a good time.
We are friends.
Yeah,
we are all laughing together and having a good time. Okay, so you guys know how the show works. Let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week, I sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell the story of an infamous killer. Throughout the show, you guys can chime in on my story, and if you brought a story of your own that is true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious, please feel free to share it. Lastly, if you have questions about questions, make sure to ask questions, because I cannot answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions?
No, I think you made it pretty clear.
No questions.
Very good. Very good. Then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast. Yeah. It's the real fucking deal right now. So, not a serial killer today, guys. Last week, you guys won't have heard it because it hasn't come out yet. So it's recorded but not out. So you guys get the disadvantage of it. But we did a family annihilators.
What is that?
Someone who wipes out their entire family.
Oh, okay.
So there was 3 really good ones, but it was too long for one episode. But one of them was particularly long, so I moved it into another episode. So let's go back-to-back Family Annihilator episodes.
Exciting.
Today's killer is Christian Longo.
Such a good name.
All right.
Longo.
Yes, Christian Longo. Question number 1.
Oh.
Forgot it's a game show.
Yep.
Here we go. Put my beer down here and grab a pen.
gonna put my Alka-Seltzer heartburn gas relief cheese down. Gotta grab a pen.
Thank good plug. Question number 1. In what year was Christian Longo born? Give me a full birthday. If you nail the full birthday, it's a 2,000 points. But closest year is going to get 250. If you nail the year, 1,000 points. You know the rules. Ask questions about the questions. Got questions.
Nailed. I nailed it. I got 2,000 right here. That's 2K.
JP says, October 12th, 1932. Alex said, what was it again? September 11th, 1975. Alex gets 250 points.
Okay.
Almost got 1,000 because Christian Longo was born January 23rd, 1974.
Wow.
So close.
You got stiff competition this week because I've been on 4 shows. I think I'm 0 for 4.
Dang.
So
He's due. That's what we call in baseball. He's due.
I'm due.
You know, when someone 0 for 4 comes up, I'm like, oh, he's going yard right now. I'm not like, oh, he's going down one more time, dude. All right. So, yes, he's born January 23rd, 1974, and raised in, okay, here's the fucking deal. Why does this always happen to me? Raised in Ypsilanti Township, Michigan. Ypsilanti.
I think you killed it.
Yeah.
It's Ypsilanti.
Ypsilanti.
Yeah, but you got to say it with the Michigan accent to really get the phrasing in there.
Ypsilanti.
You guys make enemies all over this country. I imagine the Midwest is like kind of a common
man.
ground. Like maybe leave them alone. You know what
People fucking love us. Okay, so Ypsilanti Township, Michigan. His parents were very strict Jehovah's Witnesses. Longo told investigators that he had a very happy childhood. He lived normal and average life as a kid through school. There's no abuse. He wasn't bullied. There's, other than maybe no Christmases, it's pretty normal for him. Like it's why he's not a serial killer, but he's gonna do some shit. He's actively involved in the Jehovah's Witness Church. He's not just kind of following along his parents' cues. He's very hands-on with it and kind of doing shit that they're not even encouraging him to do. He received training at a young age to participate in the door-to-door ministry. So that's super, that's the Lord's work. Gotta go door-to-door, tell people about the good word. There's no, I feel like, there might be no one hated more that goes door to door than the God talker. And it's not just Jehovah's Witness; it's everybody trying to spread the good word.
I usually try to, unless I'm rushing in or out of the house, I like to have a couple minutes with the witnesses of Jehovah when they come. Nothing bad, it's just
to say hi.
Like this is literally their whole day, 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week for whatever their term is, 6 months or whatever. And it's usually pretty good. I mean, they got a whole thing.
So you're saying I should watch the spiel next time?
It's pretty good. I mean, just let them go off. Like you got to figure 90.
Did you like a song and dance thing?
So he lived a very normal life. He received the training to go door to door, which tough job. Mm-hmm. We can all agree, depending on how many of those stories made it through. So he didn't date at all through his early teenage years until his late teens, 18 and 19. And he was married at 19 to a woman 7 years older. Question number 2. What was the name of the woman he married? Was it A, Kellyanne Smith, B, Mary Jane Baker, C, Bobby Joe Gibson, or D, Debbie Sue Simpson?
Oh, man.
Those names were all the same.
Kellyanne Smith, Mary Jane Baker, Bobby Joe Gibson, Debbie Sue Simpson.
All right, I'm gonna take out Simpson and Mary Jane, because if I would have guessed 2 names that Jesse would have made up, they would have been Simpson and Mary Jane.
I like your
I'm
thinking.
going with A.
All right, what was it? We got double A's. So it's not A. It's not Kellyanne Smith.
That's
the last
And
one.
you were right. It's not Debbie Sue Simpson.
Mary Jane
It's
Baker?
Mary Jane Baker. Yeah. Trap. It's a trap, dude.
That was a trap. They're all traps.
And her name is Mary Jane Baker. Mary Jane Baker. She's
That was the made up name for sure.
nah.
Oh man,
That's why I made it a question. I was like, "There's gold here."
Is there live fact checking on this show? Is that where we're at?
Yeah, his name's Hella Greg, and he'll fact check it, but it's the truth. So he marries Mary Jane Baker at the age of 19. She's 26, I believe, when they got married. He met her in a church parking lot at a Jehovah's Witness, essentially like a dating event. They do that,
Like a singles event.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
right.
like, it's like everybody who's single, come on down to the, high school gym and kind of, we're congregating. And so he went there and he didn't meet anybody, but I guess he met her out in the parking lot where everybody was kind of hanging out afterwards. Probably way more metal out there anyway, dude.
The after party.
They were like showing like shoulder and stuff. So
Eating candy cigarettes.
So he meets Mary Jane Baker in the parking lot of the church. She was a modest woman and by no means expected the world. Christian, however, refused to give her anything but the best. He bought her a 3.5 carat diamond ring on a payment plan with the jewelry store. So that's a big ring. It's not fucking gigantic, but for a modest woman who doesn't expect the world, I'm guessing that she wasn't expecting a 3.5 carat.
I think that's a monster ring.
Is that a monster?
Right? I think so.
Greg will get on that, but yeah, I know it's huge. It's a big.
I don't know if it's like Kardashian big or whatever, but
yeah, I believe you're right. We bought it on some ridiculous payment plan, from what I understand. Greg said, "Wow," so I'm assuming that it's quite large ring.
Yeah, I'll hit you with a picture here and just fucking. Oof.
Yeah, so
Get the fuck out.
Okay, so he bought her a gigantic ring then. I guess I was assuming it was a little, so I was like, it's got to be like at least 6. So 1 month he found himself coming up short on payments for both the ring and the rent.
Ooh. Rookie mistake.
Yep, and he was not living with Mary Jane Baker yet, so he was living with some other guys that were also part of the church. So they went out and he worked at a camera store. Worked at a camera store during the day for the most. You guys will have to come around if you want to see it, but
That's pretty big.
Oh, did he send you the monster ring picture?
Thanks for noticing.
I'm all plugged in.
I don't know if you could see it, JP.
Oh my god.
It's like half her knuckle.
Yeah, that's quite a large ring.
Is that the actual ring he bought her?
No, but that's 3.5 carats. So, they are, balling on a budget, so to speak. He works at the camera store and he's coming up short on the rent. He's coming up short on his payment. So he stole $108 from the register. I don't know if that was just like all that was in it or that was like what he decided to take or what he needed. But $108. We all worked retail together. When fucking $1 is missing, it's like, where the fuck did the dollar go? God damn it. So when $108 is missing,
It's a big deal.
Yeah, the next day they've got everybody sat down asking questions. So they get through, they're like, just tell us, like, who did it? Very like,
I'm not gonna be mad.
yeah, just we need to know, like, this just and he goes home and he kind of sleeps on it, and he took his key and he opened the camera store extra early the next morning, wrote a $108 check and a letter of resignation with an apology, and left his key, like dropped his key through the slot after he left. So he was feel pretty guilty. Like his faith made him feel pretty guilty. I mean, I guess some people just feel guilty anyway, but
Sounds like a good man. Sounds like a decent guy.
decent move for now. Yeah. So his roommates, who
Yeah, he
are-
is on this show, right?
Yeah.
He can't be that good of a dude.
So are we.
Good point.
His roommates are also Jehovah's Witnesses, and they're very involved in the church, as was he. They informed the congregation elders of the $108 theft. I won't pretend to understand this faith or any faith really for any reason, but he was sanctioned, so whatever that means, he was sanctioned within the Jehovah's Witness Church for his $108 theft. He lost some responsibilities within the church as well, which is a big deal. And
He wasn't allowed to run the register at the bake sale anymore. So listen, dude.
hey, Christian, get your hand away from those singles. I saw your pinky sneaking over. So Mary Jane stood by him the entire time, but because of the sanctions, the two were not able to get married in the Kingdom Hall. So he wasn't allowed to get, that's where you get married if you're a Jehovah's Witness. And he was no longer allowed to do so. He was very repentant, and he felt he had learned that his lesson from all of it. And, he wanted to get his rights back. And I don't think it really works like that. But I think that he's such fucking smooth talker, smooth operator that he was like, well, I can get him back. What did he say? There's a quote. He said, quote, "I was determined that I would never do anything along those lines again. Anything that was not only illegal, but immoral and unsavory." He's not going to stay true to that. This dude liked very nice shit. At a few points, he had sports cars, like not very nice sports cars, but he had sports cars. It is said that he likely maxed out his credit lines and completely shat on his credit before the birth of his oldest son, Zachary, in 1992. Things are only going to get harder financially since Mary Jane stops working to take care of the baby. So now they're just down to one income. And two more children came within the next 2 years. So as is with tradition, they have some children, and it just it starts quick. While the couple was thrilled about the kids, finances continued to fall apart, and Christian did a good job at hiding it from his wife. Longo says he could not go to his parents for help. Question number 3. Why couldn't he go to his well-off parents for help? Was it A, his dad was getting fishy about his finances? B, his parents were also in debt? C, his pride? Or D, Mary Jane told him not to? All right. JP says Mary Jane told him not to. Alex said his pride kept him away. Alex gets 250 more points because, yes, that's what he would say later. That my pride kept me from asking who. I feel like those are the people you would be the most able to shed that. Yeah, I guess.
I understand.
Yeah, all right, fair enough.
Yeah, it depends on the family.
Fair enough. I'm not even, it's, yeah, very true. Very true. I understand.
I'm so bad at this game.
It's plenty of time to go. Just 3 questions of 12 into the show here, JP.
And I'm due, so
Yeah,
I got that.
I think it'll happen. Have one of these guys.
All right.
That's the secret right now.
It must be because I have heartburn. I need fast, powerful relief.
Right after the finances get to some
delicious.
of
Probably better than those.
Probably better.
right when finances are getting at some of their worst, Christian Longo starts a construction cleanup and subcontracting business with another friend he had in the church who still trusted him and was willing to work with him. Because there weren't many at this point. Like just the fact that he once stole $108, everybody's like, nah, you don't work with that guy. That guy once stole a Benny. So the business is very well. Like it just fucking takes off, and it's not going to hold on because he's deciding that we're going to expand. Like right when the money starts coming in, like we're pushing out like more trucks, more crews. Like this is how we're going to do it. Fucking rapid expansion, and the money is going to fucking blow up. Like if we make this and the business is 5 times bigger, we're going to make 5 times the money. And
Naturally.
Yes, yeah. That's not
That's
always
how it always
so,
works.
yeah.
That's the deal.
Yeah. So the rapid expansion kind of takes him at a business that could have probably done quite well with just him and his one buddy and the 2 or 3 guys that they initially had working with him. But because of his fucking greed and his need for opulence, he ran it into the fucking ground again. So if you listen to last week's episode, which again, you guys wouldn't have been able to, it's super similar MO to both of the stories on that episode. Also 2 family annihilators in huge financial trouble, and had a perfect marriage from the outside in. They're just protecting everything. And, from the outside, everybody's like, that's who I want to be, They're just the ultimate fucking manipulators. They make you see what they want you to see, man. the way that he was making his business successful was just lying about how successful it was. And just being like, oh, still making money hand over fist. Look at that new F-350, boy. Blah, blah, blah. Hit the horn. Bwomp. It's got the train horn. I got the train horn on it. So that's the life he's living right now.
Sounds like a good guy.
Yeah, so he's got everybody believing it so much that he even allows his own father to invest tens of thousands of dollars. Now, a lot of articles say tens of thousands, so I couldn't find an exact number, but tens of thousands could be 10,000. It could be $30,000.
I think at least multiple 10.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, so it would have to be at least 20. So his dad's putting some fucking money into this business that's just shat the bed already. But he's like, Dad, you got, look at the numbers. I got them right here.
Look at the truck, dude. Fuck.
Hit it again, Ricky. So the Longo's money problems are going to be far from over, even though he got this $20,000. Soon after getting the $20,000 from his dad, we're just going to call it $20,000 now. He's showing off a boat and 2 jet skis, which he told friends, that he won in a contest.
Damn.
Price is right.
What fucking contest? Like the ones at the mall where you you write your information and you drop it in.
Guess how many marbles are in the jar?
Just the fucking
Write your answer on the business card.
drop it in the fucking slot. We'll call you if you won this Camaro.
It feels like 2, like you would have had to win 2, right? Like the boat one and the jet ski one.
He's like, I'm just really lucky, man.
I was at Costco one day and like they had the jar and there was nobody's name in it and the guy's like, it ends in 5 minutes, and I was like, fuck.
I'm gonna do this.
I like to think that if somebody asked him, it would have been a boat and or jet ski contest. Like
I actually won this one in a boating contest, so I won a
they were
boat.
like, let's see how we need somebody who can ride this boat really good and then these jet skis really good. So I did. And they were like, dude, you're so good. And they just let me have it.
Hey,
And then everybody clapped.
that might have been exactly what he said. But yeah, he's I wrote here. What contest did you win it? The lying to your goddamn friend championship series? So yeah, at the time, he also used some of the money to put down payments on 2 new cars. The Longo's money problems are going to be like pretty crushing now. One morning, Christian said he was awoken to the noise of a tow truck in his driveway repossessing his car. So he still had 1 car. Just a few weeks later, though, it would fucking break down. So he's going to make himself a fake driver's license, take it to a dealership, and take a car.
Dang.
Question number 4. What kind of car did he take? Was it A, a Pontiac Grand Prix, B, a Chevy Lumina, C, a Ford Econovan, or D, a Pontiac Montana? Double Pontiac on the list.
Ooh.
Oh, shit. Grand Prix, Lumina, Econovan, Montana.
I had never even heard of a Pontiac Montana until just this moment. I had to Google it.
I think it's like real boxy, right? I think I remember the commercials for it. JP says Grand Prix, as does Alex.
Ooh.
It was a Pontiac Montana.
Oh.
I didn't put that down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says right here, 12 yards long, 2 lanes wide, 65 tons of American pride.
Canyonero. Canyonero. So, yeah, he goes, presents a fake license. They're like, yeah, take it around the block, man. You know, see what you think. And he's like, for sure, dude. And just fucking rolls out with it.
Calls his homies up. Can you believe these assholes just gave me a car in a car contest? It was awesome.
Yeah, so he's a con man. He's a manipulator. He's obviously good enough to, like, you know, go and slap together a fake license that looks legit enough for it. It's not the fucking early 60s where they were laminated paper. It's fucking 1997 right now. And he's like, here's my license. And the dealership's like, yeah, man, take our $20,000 vehicle, just whip it around the block.
He probably
once."
went to one of the used places where like the people
might
are
be
in a
right.
trailer and it's like in a lot. And he's like, it's good enough, and flashed it or whatever. They're like, he'll be all right. We got lot insurance.
He had like also a fake police badge in there just to make it pretty convincing.
I'm also a cop too. Like in case the license wasn't enough, like I'm a cop too. So you're like, cop.
Like, don't look at it really closely though.
Just real quick, Lexi.
It says junior detective.
Sir, underwear it says FBI. It says female booty inspector.
Mary Jane starts getting suspicious about the car herself because no like statements are showing up for payments. She's part of the household bills. She may not be super involved in how far behind they've gotten, but she knows when bills are coming in and going out. And she hasn't, we've had this new car for 3 months, and what the fuck, we haven't got one single bill for it. So he gets out on a mid-90s Photoshop and puts himself together a couple dealership things, and he goes ahead and just mails them to the house.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's so much work. Dang.
Yeah, man, but how else are you going to explain it? You know what I mean? So Mary Jane's sister Penny maintains that although it looked perfect from the outside, Mary Jane had called her and told her that she had found emails between Chris and another woman. Mary Jane would confront him and claim that Christian told her she was no fun since having kids. In spite of the troubles, Mary Jane Longo stayed with her husband. She did, however, tell the elders in the congregation about the situation. So she kind of narked on him a little. Though there is no indication that Longo had any physical relationship with another woman, he was sanctioned once more by the church for this transgression. So
the faking of the registration documents or the emails with another
emails.
woman?
Yeah, he was.
That's strike 2 by my count.
Yeah.
How many sanctions you get?
Okay, so yeah, dude, he's sanctioned by the church for the second time, which is like that's their life. They work and then they go out and they, preach the good word, and then they go to church, and then they go home and they fucking sleep, and then they work and they go out
And they steal cars, and
Well, yeah, he does because he's a real goddamn piece of shit. To him though, it's justified. I think like, I'm taking care of my family. That's what's happening here.
Family needed jet skis, dude. They don't just grow on trees, bro.
Do you know about jet ski tree or I'm down.
Listen, I promised my family we would jet ski in the sun, and I'll be damned if you're going to make me a liar.
So he says that she's no fun since having kids.
That's fucked up.
She narks on him. He gets sanctioned once more. The business was getting some decent work at this time, but certain contractors were late to paying Longo. Instead of getting with them and collecting the money that they owed, like a business professional, like making a call and be like, yo, dude, clear that invoice, that'd be like super fucking dope. What he did was went ahead and forged some fake checks from the companies that owed him money. He had the canceled checks, the old ones, put the account number on there, make himself a new check, and get the money that he owed. And he figured, like, well, they owe me this money, so this is fine.
I'm just saving him another check. I mean, really.
Like, this is what's happening here. So before long, the companies obviously find out about this, and they contact police, and Longo found himself in a courtroom for the first time in his life in September of 2000. He pleaded guilty and received 3 years probation, but because he exaggerated his income out of his persistent concern for appearances, he's legitimately in court. And they're like, how much money you make? He's like, clear like $120K, no big.
They're like,
Wait,
cool,
this
your
is
bail's
under oath,
hella
right?
high.
This is under oath? All right,
Yeah.
$200K.
So they make his payments and what's the word I'm looking for? His retribution payments based on the pay that he said he made. Why would he lie about making so much fucking money if that's what it is? So he gets out of court for this and has these fucking gigantic looming payments over his head that he has to pay for the retribution for this crime. When elders from the congregation read about Longo's check forgeries in a local newspaper, Longo was finally disfellowshipped from the Jehovah's Witnesses.
Damn.
You're right. 3 strikes.
Yep. Longo claimed the incident led to a watershed moment with his wife in which he promised her he would be truthful and they'd straighten out their finances.
Here's the deal. I'll get you some jet skis.
But
It's gonna be fine.
not before giving each other one last present. So you're kind of right. Like he's like, look, we're fucked, but like let's do one more dope ass thing, right? And we'll figure it out.
great.
One more thing's not gonna hurt us.
Question number 5. It's split question. There's possible 500 points here.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to give you 4 options for Mary Jane. What was the thing that she got?
It's going to be half gift, like
Just one of these is the thing that she got.
Okay.
Yep. Here's 4 options: a new kitchen, corrective eye surgery, another new car, or a super fucking nice gold and diamond necklace. New kitchen, corrective eye surgery, another new car, gold necklace. Okay, hold on to those. We're going to move on to Christian before we get some answers here. Did Christian get scuba lessons, a round of golf at Pebble Beach, a flamethrower,
Ooh.
or a Rolex?
I think if he got the flamethrower, he could have got everything else.
You are for scuba?
One more time.
Scuba lessons, golf at Pebble Beach, a flamethrower, or a rollie on his arm.
Was he pouring Chandon?
I can't imagine that he wouldn't be. Okay, JP says car and golf. Alex says necklace and scuba.
Ooh, here we go.
JP gets 0 points.
Oh, no.
Alex,
The cliffhanger of the episode right there.
Alex gets 250 points.
Okay.
Which one did I get right?
Mary Jane
That's not how this show works. You're not going to find out.
Mary Jane got corrective eye surgery. Yeah, she got the, got the LASIK. Christian did the scuba. Got some scuba lessons.
Okay.
Yeah, so what are we going to do? This question did I? Give me a second.
Those are weird gifts to give one another for like a just because gift.
I think it was more like pick what you want and we'll, use the last line of credit we could possibly use here. And
Like I want to see. Like I want to swim.
Dang.
Well, yeah, you can't repossess her eyes or the trip.
true.
Good point.
Okay, so with their finances once again in incredible shambles and the credit run out, Longo went for a Hail Mary and got a credit card in his father's name. Then another. He would amass nearly $100,000 in credit card debt in Joseph Longo's name before his dad ever knew. Yeah, thanks for raising me, Dad. Also, funny story. I took out like a house order of the money in your name. What did you get? Oh, scuba?
Scuba, it was tight.
I did scuba. Also, like, Mary Jane looks hot without glasses, right, Dad? So, yeah, that's some shit, man. He's just like, hey, other kids got Christmas. This is what I get. So with friends and church members concerned about Mary Jane stopping contact and hearing about how they had creditors relentlessly calling them, Christian Longo decided it was time to make a new start. Like, dude, we need to get out of Ypsilanti. And he decided they were going to roll. Though moving out of state would violate the conditions of his probation, the Longos picked up and moved from Michigan to a warehouse in Toledo, Ohio. Longo said that he planned to renovate the warehouse into a loft-style living space, but in the meantime, the family of 5 just had to make do without kitchen facilities or adequate plumbing. You guys go fucking family time at the warehouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll make it dope to live in eventually. But right now, we live in this warehouse in Toledo, Ohio.
I just got to get this line of credit.
Yeah. This is just one more, man.
She was trying to figure out how to trade the LASIK for a toilet. Like, oh, I
Just
should have bought
one
something
more
I could
job.
sell.
Yeah.
Have some goddamn faith.
It makes me very sad for like how much faith she had in him and like how much trust she had in him.
Charming.
That he literally moved her into a warehouse with her 3 fucking kids, and she was just like, he knows what's best for us. Like, he's making the right decisions. Like, God, I feel very bad. because, we're on a Family Annihilator episode. Longo lied to his wife, telling her that rent had been paid for 6 months. Like, I hit him up front, like, don't even trip, I got this. But he was cashing more forged checks around the area just to stay afloat. He decided that Mary Jane should probably not talk to anybody from their old life much anymore. So he did a really good job of keeping her from even like contacting her family. Like they didn't have a phone. When she needed to mail letters, like she took care of the kids. He did the business. So like she'd give them the letters to send out, and like, maybe those wouldn't get in the mail or whatever. So he did a pretty good job of beginning to separate her from her past life. Her sisters, Penny and Jenny, finally managed to find them by driving to Toledo and canvassing the area and spotting their dog outside the building. That's literally all they knew. Like, they're in Toledo somewhere. So they just started, like, and they heard that it might be a warehouse. So they started, like, driving around. They were there for, like, 2 weeks just driving and then saw the dog. And was like, oh, shit, this is the spot. So, according to one of the sisters, she spoke to Mary Jane to make sure that everything was all right, but Mary Jane refused to leave her husband and return to Michigan. So they fucking found her in the warehouse. Like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, you can go.
I'm good. I just can't call anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Or shower.
Do you have a toilet with you? Longo was unnerved when cops caught him with stolen machinery that he was attempting to sell. He had stolen it from construction sites that he had cleaned over the years. So, did a little clean on your side, did a little whatever. You left your drill out. But before he could be charged with receiving stolen construction equipment and passing bad checks, Longo had already picked up his family and moved once again, leaving the dream warehouse behind. At one point, Mary Jane and her husband were driving separately down the road in the stolen SUV, Pontiac, Montana, and stolen Penske moving truck. Yeah, rented a moving truck to get all their shit in, and was just like, yeah, this mine now. So he's,
babe, check it out. I got a mobile apartment.
Yeah, they're fugitives. They're like, Mary Jane has no idea that she's driving a stolen SUV. He's driving a stolen moving truck. She thinks, we're good. Like, this is paid for at least, like we might not have a lot, but like these vehicles aren't hot.
At least we got this rental truck for an extended period of time.
Yeah, they didn't though. So, Mary Jane, clearly naive to it. I think that like she caught on a lot more than what she's gonna make us believe, or than like what we might believe. She's not gonna make us believe anything. Like, I think, secretly she knows, but like love makes us do fucking silly things. So she kind of is on the.
That's the name of my new album.
That's kind of what her sisters say are like. She understood what was happening, but like she couldn't just leave her family. Yeah. Like, that's, well, how would the church look at her? How would her friends look at her? Everybody she knows would, like, she can't just disappear.
She
has
probably
to make
didn't
this
want
work.
to understand, though.
Yeah, maybe. I tried to victim blame, damn it, but it's hard. Mary Jane. So they kept moving and staying at campsites and motels, spending a little time as they could at each. Later, they're going to pawn Mary Jane's wedding ring for just a few $100s. So that was like how much the payments were at the time.
Dang, what a score the pawn shop got.
Yeah, exactly. Mary Jane would say that it was her idea in a letter to her sister. So like, he didn't talk me into it. I wanted to. Like, it was going to keep us going. Mary Jane's siblings had by this time filed missing persons reports because they're just out on the road. Like, they can't catch up with them. They can't find them. They're staying at campsites and one night ditch motels that they're paying cash. And
it's not like 1942. It's 2000.
Yeah, pretty close. Exactly that. It's like, it is 2000 now. It's 2000, 2001 area. We're in that time frame. Yeah.
Off the grid in 2001 is probably not
common. Off the grid, but like not like out in the forest. They're staying at like, roadside campsites and stuff. Like, it's just Penske truck and Pontiac, Montana. She's got a missing persons report filed on her. Christian Longo's parents were also very worried, and his mother said that she told one federal agency, quote, "Does somebody have to die before you do something?" So she's like, dude, go find my fucking crazy asshole son before he kills my fucking grandkids. Like, that's what it feels like. Like, these sisters know something is real fucked. And at this point, because we see even a lot of serial killers whose parents are like, well, He's just misunderstood, like bad situation, bad timing, wrong place, wrong time. His mom's like, fucking find him. Do this shit, please. Question number 6. The Longos are going to finally find a state in which they can settle. Which? California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, or Colorado?
Dang.
Remember, they're in staying in and around the Midwest. They're around Ohio still at this time. California, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Arizona, Colorado.
Sorry, right there.
Alex says Oregon. JP says Colorado. Alex is going to get 250 more points because the answer is Oregon. Doing pretty good there. JP, got to get on the board, man.
Oh, it's par for the course.
We got to get you on the board, buddy. All right, 6 questions to go. Plenty of time, dude. Plenty of time. Alex is up.
You're due.
Is
You're
up
due.
1,020. And so the Longos eventually are going to make it to Oregon, where they rented a small vacation house in Waldport. Only a few weeks after their arrival, however, they fell behind on payments and were denied a reprieve.
What?
Yep.
No way.
To get them along down the road, he would spawn some crab rings that he stole from a property before leaving, using the money for a room in Newport, Oregon, Motor Inn. Just in case you don't know, crab rings are like circular crab traps. They have like 3 different size rings. Crabs can go in and not come out. So I was like, that's a particular thing to put in there. Just like people just know what crab rings are. I better explain this.
I was just gonna say I don't really know what crab rings are.
Now you do. You thought they were like onion rings, didn't you?
I was like, dang, Bubba Gumps, man.
So he's going to move up after the hotel in Newport. He's going to convince the manager of a nearby Bayfront condominium complex that he works with a telephone company. He just moved here, and he's just waiting for his first paycheck. The manager buys his story and allows the Longos to move into the $1,500 a month condo with no money up front. I mean, you walk in as a single, 27-year-old dude. You're not going to pull this shit off. But you walk in and you got the wife and 3 kids. You're like, we just moved. Like,
Look at the Penske truck.
yeah, like money's a little tight right now. Look, I work for the phone company. Paychecks are going to be pretty fucking good, man. Like, you just got to let me in for now. Like, I'm going to catch up as soon as I get my first paycheck. It's no big deal. And the guy's like, yeah, what am I going to put your kids out on the street? Like, for sure, man. Let's get you a spot. And so he does it. He uses the fucking charm. He uses every tool that he's got at his disposal, and he talks him into moving him with no money. As somebody who has worked in property management and might currently, you don't fucking do that for this very reason. Yeah. So this is like Bayfront. They're like on the condo complex, like has docks. They're on the water here. So, and this is $1,500 a month, 2,000 2-bedroom. So,
Oregon.
Yeah, this place is probably like a $2,500 a month complex now. It's expensive. Greg's gonna look up that conversion. Greg loves to convert monies.
Yeah, you're talking 2188.44 in 2019.
A $2,200 apartment's fairly expensive apartment, even for Oregon.
Townhome.
Maybe not New York. Condominium. So, when they got there, obviously they're going to need to find a job. Mary Jane's got to take care of the kids, so Christian goes out. The only work that he could find was part-time job at the Starbucks counter at the Fred Meyer variety store. So we're at Fred Meyer's. In the Starbucks, the Fred Meyer's. He was totally humiliated, and he told his boss and fellow employees that he lived off a lucrative internet business, but took the part-time job because he liked Starbucks coffee.
Right.
Like, I make bank at home. I'm just here because, like, dude, do you smell that? So the family struggled, running out of money only days after paychecks arrived. The rent on the condo did not get paid and groceries were scarce. Longo says that he was forced to pump a tank of gas and drive away without paying. In a police interview after his arrest, Longo described standing on the balcony of his condo with his family, sleeping inside, looking out over the dark bay, and he knew that he would soon have to leave the condominium, but hadn't broken the news to his wife yet. Longo would later describe this night on December 16th, 2001 as the beginning of the end. On December 19th, 2001, a man in Waldport RV Park notified police about a gruesome find, the body of a small boy floating face down in the water near his lot in the RV park. The boy was pulled from the river and digitally enhanced photograph was quickly released to canvass the news media. So they took the dead boy's face, and they do this sometimes when they have an unidentified body, and they kind of like...
They make him alive looking.
Yeah. And they release it to try to find somebody who can identify him. So a couple who occasionally babysat the children came forward and told police that the child in the photo looked like 40-year-old Zachary Longo. 3 days later, as divers searched the shallow slough where Zach was found, the body of a small girl was discovered weighed down with a rock and a pillowcase tied to her ankle. Both children were clad only in underwear and pajamas. On December 27th, divers deployed to search local waterways in the days that followed found 2 suitcases under a dock in the marina adjacent to the condominium complex where the Longo family had been staying. One contained the tiny body of 2-year-old Madison, some clothing, and a dumbbell. Wisps of hair stuck out of the other, which contained the naked remains of Mary Jane Longo. Autopsies later determined the 4 victims had likely died of asphyxia and that the evidence of blunt force trauma on the face of Mary Jane Longo. This was also evidence... The blunt force evidence was also disputed, and that Zachary and Sadie had died from drowning and may have been alive when dropped into the water. So some people think that he just tied pillowcase, rock, threw him over the bridge. Yeah.
Brutal.
That's pretty terrible.
Yeah. So, like, some family annihilators wipe him out with a gun. In last week's episode, it was shoot him in the head and explode the house and then disappear.
Explode that.
Yeah.
You got to wait until it comes out last week to listen to it.
Yeah. Last week we recorded it. It comes out in a couple weeks. We're getting close to the break. Sorry. I know this is going a long time. You guys are just so interesting. Yeah, I mean, dude, they found the whole family within just a few days. Like, they're just searching nearby waterways. And they're like, what's this fucking suitcase? Oh, shit. And they're like trying to swim it over to the side. And as they're swimming it over, the 2 divers who were holding onto it just spot another one at the fucking bottom. And they were like,
no way, dude.
They probably knew. Yeah, they probably knew.
Well, I think that's what they said, is that they saw Mary Jane's hair sticking out of the zipper because it was the second one they found.
If this cat was half as smart as he thought he was, he would have thrown like another suitcase weighed down with rocks in there with, like, I don't know, some of his DNA in the suitcase or like a finger or something like that. And they never would have even looked for him. They'd have been like, damn, somebody murdered this family and stuffed him in fucking suitcases, and we found this guy's finger in this one. Like, the suitcase obviously came open because his big ass was in there, and then he just floated downriver.
Perhaps.
I learn shit every time I come on this show, and so far today I've learned do not fuck with Hella Greg.
Nope. I'll fuck you up.
Dog, I am far too lazy to go through all that.
He's like, I'll kill you if you come to me.
But by December 28th, the missing Longo had been charged with murdering his entire family. He made the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and his parents even cooperated in helping him get on America's Most Wanted.
Yeah, no, he did it. Yeah, for sure. You guys want us on the show? Or?
Yeah. A tip led authorities to the Mexican cabana where Longo was staying with a German photographer whom he allegedly identified himself as Michael Finkel. Question number 7. What was he telling that photographer that he was doing in Mexico? Was it A, he's just on vacation? B, I play Mexican pro baseball? C, he was a journalist from the New York Times? Or D, he was there for an international business meeting? Just vacation, plays baseball, journalist for the New York Times, international business meeting. All right. JP says Mexican pro baseball. Alex says he's a journalist for the New York Times. Alex gets 250 points. So I didn't really get into this, and a lot of people make this the big part of the story, but when he was down there, which was for a pretty good amount of time, he was saying that he was this guy Mike Finkel from the New York Times. And he had read this guy's work quite a bit. He was very familiar with him, very involved in the stories that this guy had put out. And this guy, Mike Finkel, had like very recently been fired from the New York Times because he had like fudged some facts, and it was found out he worked for the New York fucking Times. So someone checked the facts and they were incorrect. So he's just down in Mexico pretending to be this guy. And so when we are going to move to the trial later, he's pretty much like the only person I want to talk to is Michael Finkel. Oh. And so Michael Finkel, long story short, pretty much like becomes friends with him. Like they get like over the phone. He does visits with him. He does interviews. You know, he's kind of like he's learning his story. And then Christian Longo just ghosts Finkel. And then Longo goes to trial. And again, long story short, because we're going to get to it, but Finkel realizes that Longo had completely used him to just pretty much practice it all, like get a real good trial run of what he was going to say in court, because everything he was saying was all the things that he was telling him over like the months leading up to the trial. So
it's most likely because he found out that Finkel was really Einhorn.
And Einhorn was Finkel. So depending on how you look at it, laces out is really the only lesson you need to learn. So, on January 13th, 2002, Mexican federales and FBI agent Danny Clegg nabbed Longo following his arrest. Longo detailed for authorities the days following his family's demise, but stopped short of providing them with a confession. Longo said that after December 16th, he tried to distract himself by renting a movie, going to the gym, and attending the Starbucks Christmas party at a local pizzeria, where he told his coworkers that his wife had left him for another man. A day after hearing reports of the news that the body of a little boy had been discovered, he picked up his final paycheck and drove to San Francisco. Though he applied for another Starbucks job there, he left the country and headed for Cancun, Mexico. According to authorities, upon his arrival, he rented a cabana, began spending time with a group of young British travelers, smoked pot, toured ruins, all the while pretending to be journalist Mike Finkel, and was seen cuddling with an attractive young German traveler named Janina Franke. Yeah. So he's really.
So after he killed his family, he dropped out of college for a year.
Yeah. And well, he's got people convinced. So the young German girl, she's a photographer, and he's like, "Hey, I'm on this mission down here in Mexico. I'm doing this story on these ruins. I'm going to be going in and out for the next couple weeks, just fucking checking them out, taking notes. Come and be my photographer. Like, you're going to get paid at the end." And then they also start to fuck. So like, you know, it's yeah. So it's win-win for old fuckboy here. Yeah, that's a good point, Greg. He goes to Mexico, puts fucking feet in the sand, smokes weed, hangs out with some British travelers.
Well, yeah, I mean, he literally just took a semester off after he killed his family.
Yeah. So he's going to allegedly admit to a federal agent that his looks and speaking skills had helped him get away with the innumerable cons and crimes along the way. That's been my downfall, he said. It's like how good I am.
I'm just too good.
I'm just too good. That's my downfall. What's your biggest weakness? I would say that it's that I don't have any weaknesses. A flurry of pretrial activity concerned the defense's claim that Longo had been tricked into returning to the United States after his capture. FBI agent Clegg said they contended and failed to inform Longo of his right to counsel, who would have undoubtedly assured Longo that Mexico would not extradite a criminal with the death penalty on the table. Instead, the defense charged that Clegg had told Longo that unless he returned voluntarily, he'd likely spend months in a Mexican prison, prompting Longo to quickly agree to accompany Clegg on his own volition.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, so
that's
like
cool. I'll go.
He didn't really say like, yo, you should lawyer up and figure out what to do. We got you. That's what the move is. He's like, yo, come with me or you're fucking staying in Mexico prison. So that's what are you doing? And you know, so the defense is saying like, you didn't even fucking like properly inform him of what his rights were. And so that's like the main pushback on the initial defense
was that he was punked into returning to the country.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Dog, James Franco played this guy.
That's why this seems familiar. This whole time, it's the James Franco with Jonah Hill, that movie, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a future question, Greg. Not that exact thing, but you know.
Might be. I should have read ahead.
It's okay.
Well, after you said he was good looking, I was like, I gotta fucking see what this guy looks like. So I went and looked him up, and then I'm like, what's with all these?
You're like Jonah Hill. Oh wait, no, James Franco.
So okay, so he's gonna go on his own, and before boarding the flight to Cancun Airport, Longo signed a waiver of rights. The first time Longo learned that Oregon had the death penalty was reportedly on the flight to the first stop in Houston, when Clegg casually said, quote, "I don't think they'll give you the death penalty."
Take me back to Mexico.
Yeah, that's like where he was at in there. So now we'll take a break. We're like 2/3 of the way through. I don't know why this is where we took it, but we're going to take a short break here. We'll come back. Greg and I got a couple mini stories, very short. We'll get back to this fucking shithead. Fucking Christian Longo, piece of shit, fucking asshole.
I feel blessed right now in this moment at my best. Walking down the path of my success. Work for what you want in life, progress. So you know what you signed up for.
Welcome back, everybody. I didn't say it before we left. I should have. So now, if you didn't come back, I no longer have the right to kill you this episode. So, my bad to anybody who wanted to get killed this episode. Just jump back one episode. You can definitely listen to that one, and then don't come back, and then I will come and kill you. So, if that was just really what you wanted, that's how you can get it done.
So
So
just wait till next week.
yeah, that's too. If you're not in a rush. So we brought a couple articles. We've been kind of trying to bring our own mini stories here for some some reprieve from the dark, but they're usually quite dark on their own, right?
Well, this one I feel like my story is gonna fit in with the theme we've had for the last couple of episodes now.
Okay. Well, with that, take it away.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is an article that was sent to me by her Instagram handle is CNugs. I had to think about it for a second.
See nugs?
CNugs.
I see nugs.
Apparently it's Crump Nugget. I asked. The article she sent me, the headline is "Girlfriend and Children Plead Guilty in Raleigh Man's Death." So the reason I chose this one is because it's the opposite of the theme that we've had going for the last couple of episodes, where people have been murdering their families. This one, the family murders back.
They murdered back like they were murdered first?
Well, they're vengeance murder for other
Solid.
people.
Okay, I see.
The article is from September 2nd, 2011, and
recent.
Dateline, Raleigh, North Carolina. A mother and her 2 teenage children plead guilty Friday to the death of the children's father, who was found decapitated in a freezer in their Raleigh home last year.
Whoa.
Wendy Edmund Green and the couple's son, David Green III, who was 15 at the time, both pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the death of David Reuben Green Jr., who was 52. The couple's daughter, Alexis Green, who was 17, pleaded guilty to helping hide the father's murder.
Fuck.
Yeah, the kid was only 13 when he did it. So this was a couple years later because they didn't find the body for a couple years. A judge sentenced Wendy to 30 to 46 years, and the son was sentenced to 26 years, and the daughter got 6 to 8 years.
Can you imagine being 13 and trying to keep that secret? That you killed your dad and he's in a freezer in your house?
Fucking wait for it. Imagine being 13 and trying to do this. Okay. So, prosecutors said they sought a plea deal after Junior's family told them that they didn't want to go through with the trial and possible appeals process. The murder happened in January 2009 after David Green Jr. threatened to kill Wendy Green, his longtime girlfriend, during an argument involving Alexis, who was 15 at the time. He said, quote, if Alexis was pregnant, he was going to kill her and bury her in the yard.
Reasonable.
Right. So Alexis was actually 7 months pregnant at the time. Wendy convinced her son, David III, to go kill his father as he slept. The 13-year-old walked into his father's room several times with various weapons, but told his mother he couldn't kill him. He said Wendy ordered her son to do it, and the teen hit his father on the head with a hammer twice.
Jeez.
Wow.
See, now that's bad, but it gets worse. David Green Jr. didn't die immediately.
Oh,
He walked around the house, was crawling around the house and asking for help.
he's messed up.
They said that nobody helped him, and he died several hours later.
Several.
And then just stumbling around the house with the worst headache you've ever had, bleeding everywhere, asking for help for your kids. And they're just like, no. He died several hours later. Prosecutors say the family then used a dog leash to drag his body to the basement and put him in a freezer in their house on Ray Road. The son then went back to the freezer later on his own and used an axe, knife, and motorized hedge trimmer to decapitate his father and try unsuccessfully to cut off his father's legs. Yeah.
Was that so he could fit in the freezer?
They said he went back to the freezer. I can't imagine the freezer was just open for a while.
This just might have been for funsies.
Just wanted something to put in his drink. Go chip a couple pieces, a little chip off the old block out there, and
No.
yeah,
That's super gnarly.
That is
they said he was. The investigator found the body almost 2 years later in October. He was wrapped in a bed sheet, and the investigator noticed that the head was missing. I'm sorry.
He's laughing.
He was wrapped in a bed sheet, and the investigator noticed that the head was missing where it should have been.
in its regular head location.
Right.
So as a detective here, listen, I'm very highly trained. So if you look right here above the shoulders, like normally when you find a body right here, see this spot above the shoulders? This is where you might find a head, normally at least. So here with my highly trained and fine-tuned detective brain, I'm looking at it and I'm seeing, well, I'm not seeing a head.
I first noticed something was off when I went to put a hat on him and it fell right down to the neck. They said that the girlfriend claimed that Green abused her and tried to use that as justification. She said there was mental, physical, and emotional abuse to Wendy and the children over a long period of time.
Didn't you just kill him and call the cops, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's
Well,
Yeah, if you have some sort of legitimate reason, like, hey, listen,
Look,
like,
he came at me, I shot him, and then I called you guys. Like that's
Yeah, the defense attorney for the children said the mother was the puppet master. She was telling them what to do, and they were doing it. She used two teenage children to do what she couldn't do. So,
that's brutal.
ouch. Yeah, but hey, there you go. Family turning the tides and fighting back a little bit.
yeah.
Did the son ever give an explanation for his reason to go back to the freezer to further mutilate his dead
I didn't look
dad's
into
body?
it.
He said, "Why not?"
He said, "Yeah, fuck that guy."
What's he gonna do?
Okay, so I got a question for you guys before I jump into my little mini story here. So, question number 8.
Who wears short shorts?
What is the subject of this mini story? Is it A, a cold case update, B, a father killing a son, C, a road rage murder, or D, an accidental death that looked suspicious? Cold case update, father killing a son, road rage murder. Okay, JP says father killing a son. Alex says road rage murder. No points awarded.
What? No way.
Cold case update.
Now I'm getting worried though, JP, because you still haven't got it. And I really want you to get some. So
What he's doing is he's tanking so that he can get a higher draft pick next year.
It's true.
Very good. Very good. Very
So I
good.
want to
He
be high on
wants-
the
he wants
waiver.
that season.
Okay, so it's going to be a cold case update. I'm not sure if you guys will remember this case. This article comes from Jackie Salo from the New York Post. This case was the Delphi murders. Do you remember the two girls that disappeared? They went on a hiking trip. They're like 13 and 15. They had some like weird Snapchat activity with a guy in the background. And they had an audio recording on their phone where you can like hear a man saying like, I believe it's down the hill, like down the hill.
No,
Like,
I don't remember.
I don't remember this either.
Okay, so essentially it's gone cold. Like they have a drawing of the guy, you know, they've got like the police sketch or whatever, what he might look like. The girls had done like a few Snapchats when they had service. I think they were nervous about the guy who had been following them on this trail. It was like a historical trail or whatever. And they're supposed to meet their family at some time. So I'll give you the article here. Police in Indiana are investigating a new lead in the unsolved murders of two teenage girls in February of 2017 near Delphi, Indiana. According to officials, investigators said that they are looking into the possible link between the cold case and the January 6th arrest of 46-year-old Charles Andrew Eldridge, a man with a resemblance to the composite sketch of the suspect in the February 2017 double murder, NBC News reported. Eldridge's arrest earlier this month in Randolph County on child molestation charges had no connection to the murders of a 13-year-old Abigail Joyce Williams and 14-year-old Liberty Rose Lynn German in Delphi. Abigail and Liberty were reported missing February 13th after they failed to return from hiking the Delphi Historic Trail, which is located about 75 miles northwest of Indianapolis. The teens left clues besides an eerie audio recording on Liberty's phone in which a man can be heard saying, "down the hill." Their bodies were discovered the next day in a wooded area less than a mile from a bridge where they were planned to meet their parents. Liberty's grandfather, Mike Patty, said he was hopeful about the new tip in the case, which has stumped authorities for nearly 2 years. Once we get that phone call that, hey, we've made an arrest and we're confirmed, then I guess maybe a celebration ain't the right word, but a sense of relief that this guy has been taken off our streets, Patty told NBC News. So this guy, the only thing really connecting him is it's a pretty striking resemblance. We'll post it. This isn't going to be late for an update, but it is a striking resemblance, and he was arrested on child molestation charges. This is a 13 to 15-year-old girl that went disappear. So they're looking into this guy's background while they've got him, already in the system.
When did this happen?
February of 2017.
2017.
So we're coming up on 2 years of he's again striking resemblance. I'll show you before you leave. Looks a lot like the composite sketch. So let's get back to Christian Longo. Promise I won't keep you guys for much longer.
No, all night's fine. I'm having a good
All
time.
night long, all night. Okay, so Christian Longo's attorney said that they tried to bargain with. Before I continue, I should have done this at the top, and maybe I'll put a disclaimer in. But a lot of this was put together from a Court TV article. Incredibly helpful. Thank you, Court TV. This one's for you. So they tried. Christian Longo's attorneys are going to try to bargain with the prosecutors to avoid the death penalty, but the state decided that they were not going to negotiate. Shortly before trial, Longo pleaded guilty to the murders of Mary Jane and Madison Longo without a deal. At that time, he refused to enter a plea on the charges of killing Sadie and Zachary, and the court entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. So he's saying, like, listen, I killed my wife and the little one, that's who you found in the suitcase, but I ain't killed the other two. So I just say,
Listen, I'll meet you halfway.
yeah. So shortly before trial, Longo is going to plead guilty. Yep, the defense failed to convince Judge Robert Huckleberry to grant them a change of venue because they wanted to get out of the area, but the community sentiment claimed the attorneys made a fair trial impossible. Huckleberry, however, ruled that short of moving the trial completely out of state, it would be impossible to escape the effects of permeating media coverage. So he's a hard-ass judge. He's like, no, we're going to fucking move it. Like, everybody knows about this. You murdered your fucking family. So the prosecution contended Christian Longo was a cold-hearted killer who simply decided that his family was too much of a burden for him. There's evidence, according to prosecutors Stephen Briggs and Paulette Sanders, that Longo planned the murders months in advance. On his computer, investigators found information from a website called Hitman Online, which offers advice on methods of murder. They also found obituaries with personal information scribbled in the margins, with implications that Longo was planning an identity change. He's gonna steal some dead guy's identity.
I can't help but feel like other stuff from his search history probably said like murdermywifeforme.com. Like how to convince somebody your identity's good to steal.com, stuff like that. Like just early stages of the internet, grasping at straws, no Google to go off of.
You just have to know the address, or that's it, man.
Yeah, you're cruising around on like Ask Jeeves.
Jeeves never fucking knew.
Jeeves is like, this guy looks like he's gonna go berserk.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I don't know what Jeeves is, guys.
Really?
Yeah.
It was like an original, one of the OG search engines.
Really?
As of a couple years ago, still around. It was just ask.com. They
Yeah.
took Jeeves
Oh,
out.
I know ask.com.
Yeah, it used to be
Alright,
Ask
Oh,
Jeeves.
not
It used to be
ask.
like-
I mean ask.
It
You
used
know
to be
both.
like a
I do.
like snooty like butler. Like he was like holding the search bar.
He had like
on
a
platter.
tuxedo on. It was like the logo or whatever.
You could,
Like,
you
ask
could find your
Jeeves.
shit online.
And the idea was like you formed it in a question, like, you know, like what size is the rocket ship that's going in the air? You know, like you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that was how, and then it like gave you some results.
It's cool.
No, it was
it's
pretty
terrible.
weak.
Yeah,
Searching
also
for stuff on the
Dogpile.
internet before Google was real rough.
Man.
Alta Vista.
Oh God, Dark Ages.
it was the dark ages.
The AOL search bar.
Like we literally played Oregon Trail on a green screen computer when I was in like whatever 4th grade. Like not
DOS.
that was top of the line at the time, but like that was what was still floating through the system.
We
Like,
totally had that in my elementary
yeah,
school.
yeah, exactly.
All
Like,
the DOS systems.
like I got to die in dysentery, green and yellow. Okay, so Christian Longo also made sure that Mary Jane was isolated from her relatives, which we kind of talked about. They said that even sending a card to her sister from another state to lay a false trail. So he was like, you know, somehow, or going there. I'm not sure exactly. They don't make it very clear, but like sending postcards from incorrect states. So they're like getting like, oh, we're gonna go find her. Like we're heading back to Michigan. We think they're there, and he's like,
We're in a
idiots.
condo
Yeah.
on the beach in Oregon.
Perhaps most telling, argued prosecutors, is that many personal belongings were ditched along the way, such as family photos, clothing, and the children's baby books. Like these are things that like they said Mary Jane would have never left behind. She was like super mom. She was very doting over her children, and she would never have left behind any of this shit. Like they felt like if she may have been going along with it most of this time and, you know, trusting in her husband, like at this point, it's gone beyond what she would feel comfortable with, like the things that they're leaving behind for this life. Like her sisters are very concerned for her. So although they admitted that they have no direct evidence to link Longo to the killings, one witness placed Longo on the Linslow Bridge in the early morning on hours of December 17, 2001. A local man named Dick Hoke contacted authorities after he heard about the bodies found in the waters and reported that he encountered a reddish minivan or SUV that stopped on the narrow bridge. Prosecutors contend that this is when the bodies of Longo's 2 elder children were thrown into the water. A couple staying at the same condo complex as the Longos complained that to management the next day about loud dragging sounds coming from a nearby room. Longo's own statements also trapped him.
Dragging sound.
Yes.
That's weird.
Longo,
Yeah, but that's a really specific noise, and you know exactly what it is.
yeah, that's probably exactly why they were like, hey, listen, you guys need to fucking know about this. Longo's own statements also trapped him because, claim prosecutors, although he steadfastly refused to discuss with police how the deaths occurred, Agent Dan Clegg claimed that Longo told him, quote, I sent them to a better place. Defense lawyers Stephen Krasik and Ken Hagley argued that there was only a single piece of evidence connecting Christian Longo in any way to the murders of his 2 older children, Hoke's testimony. But the attorneys argued that the photo identification by Hoke was conducted in a questionable manner at best. The detective's office was a shrine to the Longo family, They said that the pictures posted all over the room, and Hoke identified Longo for the FBI wanted poster, stipulating that it looked like the man he saw, except for a fuller face and having thinner hair. This identification, argued the defense, was tainted and any further testimony by Hoke. So they're saying, like, they brought him in the big room, like, hey, let's do a photo identification, but all over the walls are like the evidence, the things that they're using, and there are pictures of Christian Longo on the walls in the room. Like, which of these photos? And the guy's like, huh? So that's what the defense is arguing, that the one witness that you guys have, you fucking asked him who he was while he was sitting next to pictures of who he was. So if true, that's really what it is. The defense claimed that the family was still alive on December 17th, and they had visited Longo at work, but security tapes from the Fred Meyer that could have proved their contention had already been recycled, destroying the only concrete proof that the prosecution's theory is erroneous, they said. So they're saying, like, they didn't die on December 16th, they're still alive, they came and visited him at work. Fucking Fred Meyers erased the tapes. That's what the real problem is here. They should be on trial. The couple was claiming to hear loud noises. They said we're likely to be hearing rambunctious guests returning from a Christmas party, the defense said. The defense also I want to be a defense attorney. You just make up bullshit excuses for everything.
The distinctive sound of dragging bodies.
Yeah. So the defense is also going to point to the bodies of Mary Jane and Madison Longo were disposed in a very different manner and location of Zachary and Sadie Longo. In addition, they said that the two older children drowned, further setting their deaths apart from Mary Jane and Madison's.
Oh, because he said that he did the other ones.
Yeah.
Like, look at how different these are.
Yeah, exactly.
They're in a totally different part of the same town.
Right. And they were done differently. These ones were dead before they went in the water. They were put into a suitcase. These ones were thrown into the water alive with a pillowcase tied around their leg with a rock inside. So at that point, he's like, yeah, he did these. Okay. But these two, come on. The attorneys, ask the attorneys would Longo would kill two members of his family by asphyxiation, yet leave Zachary and Sadie alive until he threw them into the dark slough. Yeah, so you got it. As for the interviews with investigators, the defense denied that there was anything incriminating about them, and Clegg's statement that Longo told him, quote, I sent them to a better place, is simply untrue, his lawyer said. It is considered with his religious upbringing, they said, since a Jehovah's Witness would not use such terminology. Christian Longo was his own key witness. 2 days into the testimony, the defendant revealed for the first time his version of the events that led to the deaths of his wife and children. He said he and Mary Jane had a date on December 15th when she told her husband she felt things were going well for the family, but confronted him about a lie she suspected that he had been telling. Which he fucking has been, right? Like, she's not unwarranted in her questioning of this. After the conversation, Longo said he struggled with whether or not he should come clean with his wife. Realizing their days were numbered in the condo because of their unpaid rent, he returned from work on December 16th and had some wine and cheese while pondering his situation. Like, what a fucking asshole. He's still just like, yes, let me just put together a wine and cheese platter while I contemplate murdering my family. I fucking hate him, man. I fucking hate this guy.
Sounds delicious, though.
No, I don't doubt that, but fuck him anyway. Christian Longo said he finally went to bed but couldn't sleep. When Mary Jane asked him what was wrong, he slowly began disclosing many things to her. During an all-night conversation, he said Mary Jane became emotional in a way he'd never seen before. After admitting to her that the family van was stolen and contained stolen gasoline, and that their condo had not been paid for, Mary Jane became fed up, and he testified. Longo said that she berated him for 45 minutes, slapped him, and told him that she would never be able to trust him again. Longo said he left her in the bedroom and went to get a few hours of sleep on the couch, and was woken up by playful Zachary. When he returned to check on Mary Jane, he found that she had vomited on the floor. The morning of December 17th, Longo said he pleaded with his wife to let him stay home from work and offered to take care of the children so she could have some time alone. She yelled at him. So he's like, I was trying to, like, make it easier for her, and she was just being so mean to me. Longo said that she drove him to work in the only car they had running at the time, and Longo said that he kissed his children goodbye, and Madison reached up with her Scooby-Doo toy and also gave him a kiss before he left the van and went to work. So his sob story just continues now. After his shift ended, Mary Jane was in the parking lot waiting for him as usual to pick him up. But she was dressed in nothing but a bathrobe and was barefoot. The children were not with her, he said. She would not speak to him on the way home. When the couple reached their apartment, Mary Jane began to hesitate and whimper, he said, and he had to pick her up and drag her inside the house as she slumped onto the floor. Longo claimed he found Madison lifeless on the bed, and he began to try to shake an answer out of his hysterical wife, who told him, quote, "You did this. You killed us," and told him the other two children were in the water. Longo said he lost control at that moment and wrapped his hands around Mary Jane's neck and dropped her, picked her up, repositioned his hands, and squeezed until he was unable to hold her up any longer. After Mary Jane was dead, Longo said he decided to dispose of the bodies in 2 large suitcases. But when he went to his baby daughter, he suddenly realized that the child was still alive. Even though she was breathing, this is a quote. He said, "Even though she was breathing, I thought her as dead at that point," he said on the stand. So he began smothering Madison. In a later interview with Connie Chung, when asked why he didn't try to help his youngest daughter when he realized he was alive, he said that, quote, "It was because I just wasn't as close with her as I was the other children."
That whole story is a mess.
Wow.
I feel like.
Yeah. So he stopped her breathing again and gripped her throat. After she too had stopped breathing, he said that he felt as if a big suitcase was going to be too big for her tiny body, so he filled it with her clothes, quote, "to make it more comfortable." He threw the suitcases in the water behind the condominium while Longo detailed account stunned the courtroom. Prosecutors would later try to debunk his version of events. Not only did Mary Jane have no history of violence or even a bad temper, but at 110 pounds would be physically unable to dump her children in the water with heavy rocks attached, the prosecution pointed out. Question number 9. On April 7th, 2003, the jury will make their decision after deliberating for how long? In hours. How long is that jury going to go in that room and deliberate this shit for?
Do we get to know what the conviction was, or no?
She's charged with 2 murders.
With the other 2
Yeah, that's what they're charging for. He's already admitted to the first 2.
in hours.
Mm-hmm. How many hours do they go in there to decide whether he killed the 2 children found sunk with the rock?
I scribbled it out. It's a 3.
Okay.
Out of 1, I'm changing to 3.
JP says 3. Alex says 7. JP is on the board. 250 points.
I
to
told
the
you you were
dude.
due. There you go.
I think it's probably too little, too late, but it's
Oh,
good to
man.
not get skunked.
If you would have said
There goes
4,
your draft picks.
if you would have said 4, it would be 1,000 to 1,250. But instead, it's 1,250 to 250. It's still not impossible. It's just not looking good. So we've got 3 questions to go. After approximately 4 hours of deliberation, the jury found Christian Longo guilty of the aggravated murders of his 2 children, 4-year-old Zachary and 3-year-old Sadie. One juror commented that while the circumstantial evidence alone did not convince him, Longo's own testimony, quote, did him in. So, they usually try to not have the killer take the stand for the most part. And he's like, "No, I'm going up there."
I want to tell my story.
And the jury's
It's convincing.
They're like, "Well, what convinced you?" They're like, "That fucking asshole when that piece of shit took the stand." That's when we found
Stumbling
out.
through that terrible story.
Yeah, fucking prick. So the same jury reconvened to hear testimony in the penalty phase of the trial to determine if Longo deserved the death penalty for all 4 of the murders. The prosecution contended Christian Longo was a professional con man who manipulated everyone he encountered with amazing proficiency. If not confined to death row and eventually put to death, prosecutors argued Longo would pose a clear danger to even the prison community. Since his capture and incarceration in Lincoln County Jail, he was held while awaiting trial. Longo committed several infractions, such as chipping a hole in a cell window and a purported escape plan that included enlisting the help of a fellow inmate. Along with other infractions, Longo sent letters to other inmates, including female ones that were both threatening and of sexual nature. Prosecutors argued such behavior would pose a grave security risk if Longo were allowed in the general population of the institution. The defense, however, pointed out there was no evidence of violence in Longo's history. He didn't have any signs of being violent as a child, never beat his wife, and never started any fights behind bars. In fact, Longo's lawyers argued his behavior during incarceration was generally good, and his infractions were minor and very common. The escape attempt, they said, was simply an effort to make a small hole to see outside the window. This has been attempted by many prisoners since the windows at the jail were sandblasted following community complaints. The prisoners had better ocean views than the town's law-abiding citizens. Hey, listen, I don't agree that they should have that, but if they do, should the community really be like, take it away from them now? Like, you got to sandblast the windows. So like, you may no longer see nature. Stop. That just seems
Gets them too riled up.
like it was already there. Just let them fucking keep it.
I mean, a better view than we do.
Yeah. Well, fuck you. Then buy a better house, stupid ass, or go to jail. Those are your options, right? Stupid prick. Sorry. So defense attorneys also said that Joseph Longo was the man who raised Christian Longo as actually his stepfather and adoptive father. Christian Longo's biological father, they said, was a violent alcoholic who abused Longo's mother, Joy, including an outburst while she was pregnant with Christian. The defense claimed Longo's biological father whipped his pregnant wife across the stomach with a motorcycle chain in an attempt to make her miscarry. He occasionally beat Christian as well when he was quite young. They said until Longo's parents split up that the beatings would pretty much continue. On April 16th, 2003, the same jury is going to deliberate for 6 hours before sentencing Longo. Question number 10 is yes or no. Did they give him the death penalty? Couple yeses, couple scores, because fuck yeah, they gave him the death penalty. Who the fuck?
Up.
Yep.
Yeah, so they they gave him the death penalty. He sentenced to death for all 4 killings. Several of the jurors said that they felt someone with Longo's intelligence and people skills would be a threat, not a victim, in any situation, and that they therefore had no choice but to put him on death row. When the trial first began, one of the jurors said he thought authorities must have made a mistake when he saw the boyish, clean-cut young man sitting in the defendant's chair. Question number 11. The jury had a move of solidarity towards Christian Longo. What did they do while the foreman read the verdict? Did they shake their heads at him in unison? Did they turn their backs to him in unison? Did they stare into his eyes in unison? Or they didn't do anything? Did they shake their heads at him while the foreman read the verdict? Turn their backs to him? Stare him dead in the eyes? Or they did? There's no story here.
Shake heads.
JP says shake heads. Alex says they stared into his soul. By the time they delivered their final verdict, the jury agreed to look Longo squarely in the eye while the sentence was read to send him a message that he didn't fool them and he was no longer in control.
That's pretty tough.
250 points to Alex. There's no video of it. That's what I was hoping. I was hoping that the foreman would be like, we find the defendant guilty. And you just see all fucking 11 jurors behind him like,
looks at him.
guilty.
That's hard.
Guilty.
I like it.
Guilty.
That should be the standard for all trials.
You just have to fucking
Guilty, you just look him
you just
down.
mean
You have
mug
to-
hard
you
as
have to chant
fuck.
too.
If he takes the stand, if the defense decides to call him as a witness to himself and he blows it,
Yeah.
they should have to stare him down.
Yep.
That's
And
good.
which is exactly what happened. So, by the time they delivered their final verdict, the jury agreed to look up Longo squarely in the eye. The sentence was read to give him a message that fool by he's not in charge. Sadly, Christian Longo has not yet been killed, so he's still hanging around, breathing up way too much fucking air. Alex might have an advantage on this one, but question number 12, there was a movie made about the story of the Longo family and Christian Longo. This one focused a lot on the Mike Finkel scenario. What is that movie called? Is it called Longo No Longer, True Story, Annihilator, or Goodbye, the Hard Way? Longo No Longer, True Story, Annihilator, Goodbye, The Hard Way. You'd go see all those movies though, huh?
Longo No Longer is definitely my favorite, but I didn't guess.
I've seen that. I think it was. I think I saw the preview for it in the beginning of Shaving Ryan's Privates.
So they both guessed B, True Story, and that's absolutely correct. That's the James Franco, Jonah Hill. Yeah. Jonah Hill's Mike Finkel, James Franco. It's fucking sad, man. It's a pretty sad flick.
I don't remember how it ended, though.
It's not incredibly accurate, and it ended, I think, with him ghosting Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
The movie's not insanely accurate, but they never really are, even though it's called True Story. But those dudes are pretty good together, especially in like
it was cool to see them
like a dramatic role.
Yeah,
you know?
it's a
It
decent
was
movie.
cool to see them not super high.
Yeah. It was pretty good there.
So that's the end of it, man. Alex, you took it down. Congratulations. What do we got here? Let's count up your points. That's 2,000 to 750. Hey, what you got on the board?
Got on the board. I'm stoked.
That's all I fucking
stoked. I didn't
need to
get
see.
shut out. That's for sure.
So, congratulations on your victory.
Thank you.
But,
Thank you, guys.
You got a W while you were here, so that's impressive. So, I'll give you first opportunity then to share anything that you'd like to throw out there at the end here, buddy.
I want to give a shout out to my roommates because I told them I would.
Sweet.
What's up, Trent? What's up, David? What's up, Meow Meow Kitty Face? That's the name of our cat.
Cool.
No way.
Dang, Trent, David, and Meow Meow Kitty Face.
Yeah, Meow Meow Kitty Face. But yeah, follow me on Instagram, guys. I'm still taking photos from time to time. Mocha Freeman. Mocha like the coffee, Freeman like Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. JP, anything?
Isn't it Morgan Friedman or is it Freeman?
No, it's Freeman.
All right, fair enough.
Morgan Freeman was that agent from.
Follow me B3R _
JXPXH.
Follow me wherever. JP Gentry Industries.
Yeah.
Sink your shit.
Sink your shit.
Sink your shit, dude.
Dude, please make a joke account where you just where you just fucking roast people and call it JP Has Jokes. And just fucking roast everybody and everything.
Better lock it up before this episode airs.
Somebody will get it.
Now, can you imagine, and you'd be with Alex on this, working for both JP and myself?
You know, do what you
safe
love and you
workplace.
never work a day in your life. That's what I'm saying.
What if you live in constant fear though? Then what?
Being roasted.
Maybe.
I mean, I lived
On
in
a good day.
I lived in constant fear of being roasted, but it was a good time.
Then we were doing our jobs.
Respectable.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you guys for coming out. I do so appreciate having both of you so dearly. This is going to be once a doozy for length. So thanks for sticking in here with us. Hella Greg, what do you got for me?
Respect.
Yeah.
Deep.
Dang.
Yeah.
Find out what it means to me. That's what
RESPICT.
I respect you too. So, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure to follow us on all the things that you follow us on, and don't talk to strangers.
This has been another presentation from Super Network.